Hello there everybody. So today we are going to run through how to colorize a black and white photo. So as you can see, my image is already colorized for the most part except his jacket. So we are going to do that part together. So we're going to start off by selecting the quick selection tool. And we are going to go ahead, make sure that in our options bar that we have the plus sign selected and to sample all layers. And then we're going to make sure that we're actually on the background layer just to avoid any issues that may arise if we weren't. I'm going to use our right bracket tool to make my brush size a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to go ahead and select over his jacket. So pretty good selection as for the outline, but we can notice that in both triangles kind of created by his arms, those are selected when they shouldn't be. His hand is selected when they shouldn't be, and we have some issues with the jeans because they're so similar in color that it went ahead and selected a little bit more than what it should have. So we're going to go in and we're going to fix that. So I'm going to actually start off by zooming in to this little section right here using the quick selection tool, taking my brush down a couple of pixels and hitting the Alt button, which activates the deselect function of the quick selection tool. So when I have Alt not selected, you can see that it's going to be selecting. When Alt is selected, you have that negative sign showing you that it's in that deselection function. So making sure we are on the background layer, I'm going to hold down Alt and make my selection. So as you can see, Photoshop did a pretty good job of making that selection where we don't actually have to go back and adjust anything. We're going to try and do the same thing over here, holding down Alt, making the selection. Photoshop didn't do as good of a job. That's okay, so we're just going to change the brush size down and make a selection, which we could refine later if need be. And then just making sure that it's pretty close to where it should be. And as you can see, I'm being very detail oriented. I know it seems to be an aggravating task and it kind of seems pointless, but this is going to help us out later when we add the color to the image, because if you have colors overlapping, you're going to be able to notice it. You may not be able to notice it right at this moment, but you definitely will be able to tell later whenever we add color to the selection. I'm going to tackle the jeans and select and mask since they're so close in color. It'll just be a lot easier to use the brush tool in the select and mask dialog box. So now that we're here, here are our brush tools and other little tools that are available to us. The first is going to be the quick selection tool that we've already been using. Refine Edge is our next one, which will allow us to pick up small details like hair fibers that aren't selected when we're using that quick selection tool. Our next one's going to be the brush tool, in which I'm going to show you how to use in 1 second. And then we have our lasso tool, our hand tool, and magnifying tool. So we're going to select the magnifying tool, zoom in to where the base of the jacket is, and we're going to use the brush tool to deselect parts of the jeans that are very close in color to the jacket. And I'm just painting over this, outlining where the jacket and the jeans meet. And the reason why I'm using the brush tool, you guys, is because the brush tool lets me make a selection that I want to make. The quick selection tool is going to select pixels, whereas the brush tool is selecting exactly what I tell it to. So instead of it selecting too much or deselecting too much, it is doing exactly what I want it to do. So I'm going to actually get in here, and this is where it allows us to get those finer details that we may have missed earlier. And once I am happy with my selection, I'm going to hit the hand tool, look it over one more time. I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm going to make sure that I output to selection. Here's when you can make the decision if you want to adjust any of the features here. I suggest Smart Radius be on, maybe adjust the radius by a couple of pixels, same with the smoothness, but this is kind of a preference thing, and it's more helpful when we are selecting fine details like hair when we've used the select and mask function. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go down here to create new fill or adjustment layer. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go up to solid color. This will allow me to choose the color that I want to make the jacket. Right now I'm on hue, which is allowing us to kind of select whatever color we want. I'm going to go into the reds. Let's see, we'll go all the way down to the reds. If I want to change the saturation of the red, I would click on S. B allows us to change the brightness of a color. So these are the three functions that you could use to play around with color when we're working on this Colorize project, and it just allows you to get a very, very specific color. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to go right here to change my blending mode. The three blending modes that I like to focus on for this project is overlay, soft light, or color. You may use any of the blending options available to us, but those are the three that we find are the ones that work best. So now I'm going to look at my photo. As I can see, there's a couple little areas that aren't perfect, and one way we could fix this is by zooming into them, making sure we're on the brush tool, which is going to be right here, and painting on the layer mask. So this right here was created with the color fill, and it's called a layer mask. So the layer mask allows us to make adjustments to where the color is laying. So the white means that that is where the color is, and the black means that it is a masked part of the image that is not getting that red color. Black and white are the two colors for the brushes that we need to make sure are active for our color right here. And if I hold down, or if I click X, I should say, it'll allow me to switch between both of them. So I'm going to use black to paint over the sections of the photo that I want to get rid of. Make sure that your brush is on hard round or soft round, and that your opacity and flow are up to 100% to do this, or you may have some issues where it's not very opaque color change. And I'm just going to kind of paint where there is some overlapping, because we do not want that. In order to get the highest points on the rubric, you want to make sure that none of your color is overlapping, that you've gone through and made all of the necessary adjustments to the images and the color fills. So I'm going to go through and make all the adjustments. And once again, guys, I am painting on the layer mask with black. If I accidentally take too much of the red away, like I kind of just did there, all we have to do is hit X on the keyboard to activate the white, and then paint over that section. And there you have it. That is the jacket colored and ready to go.